And then in terms of Everton, it looks like they may be signing Mangala on loan from Lyon with a permanent clause included in the deal. Obviously, that's one of John Textor's clubs. Do you think that could be linked to Textor, or do you think maybe it's just a bit of a coincidence that one's happening? And he actually just joined them on a permanent deal as well. It seems a bit strange.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's very hard to understand what's happened at Lyon this summer. They bought multiple players around their year end. We know clearly they bought Mangala himself, but also bought Niakate from Forest as well for a very sizable fee as well. They also bought another player whose name escapes me at the moment, but that's also apparently also for sale for approximately the same price they paid for it. So I don't really know what their plan is, but clearly, if people are going to talk, if John Textor is doing deals with Everton, whilst being openly in the bidding process to acquire the club, I think he can't expect people not to join those dots and make and question what's going on there. But we'll see. I mean, I suspect that for Everton, it makes a lot of sense to loan a player of his quality, given their financial situation. So I think it's good for them. And I let's assume there aren't any onerous conditions that require Everton to buy the player at an inflated price, which would disadvantage Everton going forward and give Lyon upside. I think we don't know is the reality, but clearly Textor can expect some questions given the connection that's now been made.
Just on Lyon, they've obviously had some well-documented issues over the last few months. I've seen you discussing some of them on your Twitter page at times. Would that be a concern for Everton fans that they're don't seem to be quite a stable club at the moment in time?
Well, I think it's very much a concern for if that deal proceeds. I mean, Lyon are the biggest club in the portfolio, and you would have expected that they would be in a stable financial position when in fact they have quite high levels of debt. The debt that they do have is extremely expensive debt. Lyon are in dispute with the league. It's not clear exactly what the terms of the dispute are. There has been some rumours in the French press that they are required to sell by, tomorrow, €100 million of player. That's been denied by John Textor, who said words to the effect that they do need to raise €100 million, but not necessarily by selling players. But either way, raising €100 million for Lyon is not straightforward. In the background, Textor appears to be trying to IPO Eagle Holdings, the holding company, on one of the American markets. That's a process that will be intriguing and will give all of us that are interested in this sort of stuff quite some insight into the situation there. But it's not a foregone conclusion. Lots of IPO processes collapse. And in fact, Eagle did have a deal with a company known as a SPAC, a special purpose acquisition company. And that collapsed. So he has been there before. So there are no guarantees that IPOs get away. And part of the IPO process will be to try and raise some new money in the way that we described City raising money from Silver Lake. Clearly, if he was to raise the sort of money he's talking about, which is $500 million, that would put the whole group in a much better financial position and would therefore have an upside for any club that he was looking to buy. But we don't know in the absence of that. Lyon, on the face of it, seemed to have some quite serious issues in France. And, we don't have full clarity on that. But as I say, Textor has admitted that they do need to recapitalise their balance sheet to the tune of €100 million in the next few months. And, it's not completely clear from the outside how that process is going to take place.
On the £2.3 billion float that with Eagle Football Holdings, what is the real significance of that for Everton and Palace?
Well, look, you can only have one of Everton or Palace. So I think what it's going to do is going to put up in lights a lot of what's going on in terms of those clubs, because the disclosure requirements that you have if you're a listed entity in the US are far greater than they would be as a private company in the UK or even elsewhere. Eagle Holdings are listed on Euronext, so that does mean that we do get quite a bit of extra visibility already. We get, for example, every time they sign a player, we get the precise terms of that deal. But the requirements on the US listing will be greater again. So, and with an organization that's a bit smaller than United, who are also listed in the US, you can expect more disclosure. And that will be an issue for any club that Eagle are invested in, be that Everton or Crystal Palace or Lyon. So good for us as watchers, not brilliant for you if you're an investor, particularly because quarterly reporting of a football club is not ideal, because what then happens is each time, you might have a bad spell in the league and all of a sudden your numbers look pretty ropey, or your prospects don't look too good or whatever. It's just not well suited to football. But that's what he's going for.